Those are cool. Those are good.
No, the thing is that, like, the other day I was telling my mom, I was like, hey, you remember, you used to fucking chase me around the house and fucking hit me?
¿Qué te dijo? No es cierto.
¿Cuándo?
They always deny that shit, dude.
¿Cuándo? I never hit you guys.
I would never.
And I said, so how would you punish us? Un castigo normal.
Ah, mira qué chingón.
¿Y cuál era el castigo normal, güey?
Le hago verga traumas. She's like, yo no les pegaba. And she gets mad about it.
She does. She gets furious
and
about it.
I was like, because, I'm going to tell you guys this. I see, you guys have kids. And I see, around my age and our ages, people have kids. Those are normal people.
Yeah.
Me, I don't have kids. Not normal. And so I'm like looking around and I'm checking out. I'm looking around and I'm like, fuck, they got kids. So, I pay attention because I don't pay attention too much. But it's interesting how we grew up as kids together. And it's like you guys transition from, being a young adult to being like a little bit reckless to like now you guys are parents and shit. And like these kids are under your guys' belt. And it's like, oh shit. Like now you guys are creating the next
You look
universe.
at certain people and you're like, fuck.
But I always wonder, I'm like, do these
Billy, stop. Stop, Jacob.
No. Come on, Skyler. What's wrong with you? Ricardo's all confused.
Sorry, Carlo. You're out of this one.
No. See, this is my mind's going to very bad places right now.
It's just that was a reference to gentle parenting.
I like to get this shit out of the way. I caught a stomach flu. And
What did you record?
there is a mental connection with your stomach that it's making me think so many dark shit right now that I don't want to offend anyone. But I'm going to take it easy today.
Este güey ni tiene color, güey. Está bien pálido.
Parece que me agarró un burro. No, so I have a question. Do you fuckers hit your kids? Motherfucker.
I mean, fucking child services is gonna hear this shit. No, but I think after a while, like for example, me, not with the little one, but with the older one, I guess at times I'd be like, I guess after you say 1, 2, 3 times and it's the continuous behavior. Fuck, man. It's kind of hard to say. I don't think I hit them. I think I'll give the little pinche nalgada, like, hey, come on, stop. I told you to stop type of thing, That little small soft slap.
Renee's like, I fucking wow. Nah,
No.
And then that's it. And they'll walk away. And she'll walk away. She'll be like, it's not to the point where she'll cry, dude. Or she'll fucking be like, dude, I have my whole resentment for the rest of my life.
No, who knows? Who knows? Wait till they get older. Wait, I remember.
Yeah, but the thing is, you look at the world now, and I thank my mom for the little slaps here and there, because, goddamn, dude, it makes you more aware of like your behaviors and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's like a form of discipline.
It is. Yeah.
Me
or
personally,
consequence.
that's the way I see it, in a sense of like, for me, it was a form of discipline that needs to be done at a certain time.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that I kind of found myself after maybe saying something one time, I would kind of go and be like, you didn't listen? Like, le dabas una nalgada,
Yeah.
And yeah, he would cry because it's like, I'm trying to tell you something and you're not like listening, right? So I realized, you know what? I need to take a different route. I need to save that for the second, third time around. Mm-hmm. I told you 2, 3 times already. Mm-hmm. You haven't listened.
Yeah.
After the second time out.
Yeah.
Let you think about it. Leave you there. When I go get you, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what you realized, what you did, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If he still keeps at it, then ahí es cuando viene la nalgada. So I wouldn't do that at first. So I adjusted. I'm like, you know what?
You made it where that was the first thing. Like
it would be, I would tell him. And then if that second thing would be like, le das una nalgada.
Yeah.
Y pues a llorar a gusto. Obviously, I wouldn't give it with my full strength.
So that's what I was going to ask you. You think he's crying? I don't think, I know you for years, dude. I don't think you'd fucking hit your kid to the point where it's going to hurt him and you made him cry. I think it's more the emotional side of, my daddy's actually spanking me instead of,
probably
fucking hurt.
I will say this. Una vez, una vez sí me pasé, güey, and I couldn't even felt it. And I was like,
is listening.
I was like,
Renee, I'm trying to save you from child services.
wait, you fucking swear, wait.
Nah, I'm joking.
And then I found myself, and I was like, and I told his mom, like, hey, you know what? Like, I even felt bad. Like, I think I might have hit him a little too hard. And she was like, hey, I think you did. And I was like,
but you didn't close your fist.
So, no. It was always open hand.
No, way. What the fuck was that, Ricardo? What do you mean
He's
close
like,
your
I
fist?
just want to make sure. You didn't close your fist. No, way.
It was going
But it's
on.
one of
I'm
those where
helping
it's
your
like,
court case right
I
now.
think after
We're about to catch a case on
after
this
that
fucking
time,
episode.
that's when I realized, you know what? I need to make an adjustment, and I need to save that for like the third time around. But I do believe that physical, you know, like hitting the discipline,
Yeah.
it sí hace falta, way. Like you do need it, but it's not your first option
Go-to,
or your
yeah.
second option. You get
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, and the thing is that like now though, I don't know
Because look
how.
at us. We got physical fucking discipline,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't fucking complain about it. Like it is what it is. I probably deserve more than half of it, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, again, our parents raised us the best way
But
that
how
they
many times
could.
did you consider calling the cops on your parents?
No.
I don't think I ever did what consider calling.
No,
I
me
never
either.
even
These
threatened.
kids
Now I threatened
know.
leaving the house. I threatened leaving,
Yeah.
but never to call the cops.
You get the fucking
The
suitcase,
little
you
letter.
throw everything
Ya me
in there.
voy. Ya no me va a ver.
No me quieren, nunca
Ya
me
no
han querido.
quieren.
Yeah, these kids now though, they just feel like they have access to the cops like that, and it's kind of crazy because you know they would hit you, but I don't think that ever came to my mind where I'm like, I'm gonna call the cops on you for hitting me, and then naturally the cops come in and they're gonna fuck over your parents.
You know why though? I think we could kind of jump into that. I think is también because I remember my mom. They used to put that fear in us that like if any like legal services or anybody
Don't take their ass to Mexico.
no
No, not them. Take the kids
no,
away.
like
No? They'll take you.
They would take us away. Yeah, and I think we had that fear of them taking us away from my mom and my dad. I mean, I'm gonna speak for myself on that one. I remember my mom would kind of put that fear inside of me, and I would
You're
be
like,
like,
no.
if I do that, oh my God, what trouble am I gonna get my mom in? And I'm never gonna see my brother, my mom, and my dad again. And holy
Yeah.
shit! And so now, I don't know. I feel like if they threaten if we threaten our kids, they might not care. I'm not gonna speak about mine specifically. I know mine would probably be like a bit scared of that, but that's something that is definitely something that I don't think you can use now. And threaten your kids with that, like if you tell the teacher that I did this, like you're gonna go, they're gonna be taken away. Like,
That's
no, you can't.
That's
you
a
can't say
good
that
point.
shit.
I think a lot of the reason why the kids are like kind of threatening the parents to call the cops or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with like what they watch on TV now and what's around them.
Yeah.
Also, like at schools, they probably I don't know. Like it's been a while since I've been out of school, so I don't know if they're like, hey, if anything's going on at home, which it's normal to ask, if a kid comes home with, to school with bruises, it's like, okay, that's different.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
above
that.
and beyond.
But other
Yeah.
kids hear it as well. And it gives them like an idea, like, oh, if my parents ever hit me or whatever, for them doing something in their eyes, they probably weren't wrong. It's something they wanted to do. Their thing would be like, I'm gonna call the cops on you then.
Yeah.
I think,
Thinking that's gonna save them. You
but
get
it's
me?
because I think right. So I'm gonna touch the part on the school part that you're saying
Fuck
because
schools.
mine are going to school right now. What I noticed though is now for what I remember, Ricardo, I don't think you can probably remember this. It used to be my mom, the one that used to go. So it used to be my mom and the teacher versus us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's not like that. Now I think sometimes it's the teachers kind of siding with the kid at times. He could side like, oh, your mommy's hitting you. Oh, let me protect you from that. Let's go all balls out and, try to do something to your mom or your dad because they're hitting you.
Yeah.
Now, there's a fine line with what he mentioned about the bruises. I mean, dude,
Te
you're
estás pasando
already
de-
physically abusing your kid to
Yeah,
the point
yeah,
where
that's
you're
what I'm saying.
marking
Like,
him. That's a no-go in my
think
head.
that's one thing that kind of started maybe the school system or whatever to approach it at a different way. Kids coming to school with bruises, scars,
you're right.
burn marks, shit like that, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And those kids, they do need that help or whatever, or find out what's going on at home.
For sure, yeah.
But then it's like you have like the other kids that might, the kids gossip, whatever. And there's just like, you can call the cops on your parents if they. And there's always those kids that are a little bit more, out there than others because they've seen more or they're whatever they grew up seeing, you know, they're exposed to a lot more, so they know a little more, and tell the other ones that really don't know. And they get that idea of like, oh no, like if my parents ever hit me, like I would call the cops on them. And they're like, what? So all of a sudden your kid starts thinking that, and they're probably like, that never crossed my mind. We grew up at a time where we were all getting physically disciplined. Let's be honest. Like we get the belt, the hand. Some people got a hanger. Some people got an extension cord. I mean,
I don't know why. I've heard those.
I got the belt and the hand. I'll tell you that my dad's hands are the heaviest fuck. He has a heavy ass hand, dude. So you know.
So it's where I remember the teachers used to, for whatever behavior was being reflected in the classroom, in the recess, whatever it was, that's when the parent would speak. That's when the teacher would speak to the parent and say, well, let's work together. What is going on in this situation? What's going on here with your son is acting like this and this. What's going on at home? So then the parent would communicate with the teacher, this and this is going on at home. Then we understand. So I've had communication like that with my daughter's teacher, where even I tell her ahead of time, like, listen, this and this and this is going on in my household. Please have an eye on my daughter in case of any kind of behavior that's weird. Let me know. You know what I mean? Instantly. So, but that's the communication that I think, dude, parents or some of us younger parents now, and obviously I'm putting myself there, we don't have that communication with the teachers now. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very fucking important.
I just think though part of that shit though is just, and I'm not gonna get too heavy into that conversation, but I think we're just too busy now. Like both, I'm not talking about us specifically, but I think parents in general today.
That's a good point.
Because I think there's one thing that they don't understand, and we'll talk about economics in another episode. But I just think now, you know, before I think, you know, our moms were a little bit more available to be aware of what the situation was, and now it's very difficult because we all have to go out and work, which I don't want to get into that conversation right now, but I think it is something to bring up in this topic where we're just too fucking busy trying to figure this shit out and put a roof in our children.
I don't agree. Agree.
I see what he's saying in the sense of,
do not agree.
Think about it though. Our moms, right? We had stay-at-home moms or moms that worked part-time jobs, if anything. Yeah. So who would attend your parent-teacher conference?
Well, both of them, my mom and my dad.
Yeah, they both. Yeah.
But I understand what you're trying to get at. So my dad, right out of work, fucking goes, changes, showers, and then let's go.
He had the option. He had the option, pues, not to do that.
That's why what Ricardo's saying, I get he's being empathetic in that sense towards parents. But I don't accept and I do not agree, because you as a parent, I don't give a shit. You got to be there in that first league game. You got to be in that first recital at school. You got to be there no matter fucking what.
You have to, but
and if you got to make time and you got to call off at work, you got to do it. No. It's all chill. It's all cool. It's all good. He's being empathetic, and I get it, and that's great.
You're right.
But I don't agree.
A view of like, because there are some people that have it really hard. And I know that maybe you're looking at like your situation and it's like, okay, you have one job and maybe it takes care of your but there are parents out there, dude, that are fucking like,
yeah, they got to make ends meet then, because they have children and their responsibility is to take care of that kid.
No,
do what you have to do.
And the thing
to
is
be there and get there.
And the people that have, let's say they have multiple jobs, right? They can't be there or whatever. That's what I'm saying. This is the thing that what Ricardo's trying to say is that there's people that are using things as an excuse, and you're saying there's no excuse. There's no excuse. And you're right. Yeah. You're both right.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
It's like, when it comes down to your kid, there really shouldn't be an excuse, right? It's like you want to be there for their first time for this or that or everything, or even anything that's important that has to relate to them. But sometimes it's like there are some parents that, I gotta work. Can you go? And it's like, hey, I can't call off, or I have something else to do. There's this and that. Yeah. Can you go? Or it'll be one of the parents. Like, for example, for me, my mom would be the one that would always go because stay-at-home mom. My dad would work, I don't know, 10 to 12, 14 hours sometimes. So, you know, it was one of those where it's like, well, you go, you know. So that's what I'm saying. Now, like Ricardo said, you know, economics being a whole different topic, a lot of people find themselves like both parents working, you know? And yeah, you know, people use it as an excuse of maybe why they can't attend to certain things. Which,
yeah, but then that's why ahí es cuando descuidas al niño, a la
pues
niña.
Sí, porque why? That's what I was gonna say.
You gotta make it work.
When people are trying to make ends meet or using excuses,
Yeah.
son los que tienen a los niños allá sueltos en la calle, where it's like you see kids 7, 8 o'clock at night with a backpack on a weekday. You're like, what are you doing on the streets with your backpack still? And I don't know if that was you guys, because you guys live like 10 minutes from the school.
No,
but it was
I get my ass handled.
What are you like?
You receive a text
had to
from my
be
mom.
home at a certain time, and if you weren't, ¿dónde estás, cabrón?
Yeah, ¿dónde están?
Well, before text messaging, right?
Aquí en la escuela.
So I think the spanking and the nalgada, I think it's something that is looked on as terrible, like depending on the culture that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Depending, because it is culture to culture based. There are certain cultures that don't do that shit. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and name which ones, but the thing is, like, I think that what you're saying is what you said earlier is important, where there's levels of discipline, right?
Yeah.
And you got to teach them that, and I think that's why. It's part of the reason why sometimes these kids don't understand what's really bad and what's bad, and then they just go and do all kinds of wild shit. Because, like, for example, they do one bad thing, and there are parents out there that like, let's say he drops a cup from the table. Kids are gonna do accidents, but you fucking whack them.
Nah.
Right after that, it's like, bro.
Yeah, or you scream at them, and they're just like,
he's a kid. Fuck. He just dropped the cup. Chill out.
Yeah.
So I want to touch it. I want to jump into that. What you're saying. There was times and. I will be the first to admit there's times that a veces, we're coming from work or we got so much shit going on up here that you don't think twice before you hit where that happens.
Oh, I get it. Like, bro, I feel right now I couldn't be a parent right now. Straight the fuck up. Like,
the whole day, Ricardo would be like, ¿Qué vergas quieres tú?
No mames.
No.
¿Quieres?
And trust me, I'm gonna let you finish your thing. But the way I feel right now, and I know you felt like this, and you guys have both probably felt this sick, and then having to like attend to them and not just be like, I'm gonna lock myself in the room, I'm gonna knock out, and you do whatever the fuck you want for the rest of the day. There's candy in that cabinet. Let me put it down. Kill it. Just throw
wall to wall.
And hot Cheetos. There's hot Cheetos there too.
And then like hope they don't open the fucking door or something. Like the way I feel right now, it's like I wouldn't do that, of course. But I'm just saying
that's a perfect scenario that you're putting though. It's things like that.
Some people
there's
do
there's
stuff
things
like that,
that can happen like that, dude. You can be in the trenches, feeling sick like the way that you're feeling right now, and you have to power through. But there is times that you make mistakes, Renee, and you don't let me lie. You'll make mistakes, dude, that you have whatever your personal shit is going on through, like whatever you're going through personally. You do make that mistake of get quiet, and then you probably make the kid feel small and bad. Or that example which you put, the cup falls on the floor, and then you'd be like, "Come on, why are you always dropping things?" And you give them a little spank in the butt.
Yeah,
that kind of parenting is, and I don't want to normalize it, dude, because I know there's parents that they'll say, "Well, I'm going through my personal shit too. You know, I'm gonna use my name. I'm also Brian also. Like I gotta worry about myself too." Yeah, brother, but you gotta learn to have that self-control up here. Yeah. You cannot take it out on your.
It's hard though.
You can't. I know.
You
can't take it out on your children. You know, the thing is, I made the mistake. That's why I'm the first to admit I made the mistake. But you gotta get better at it. You can't become a habit where just because you feel like shit, you're gonna go and treat the kid like shit.
So what you're saying is where I think before, I think our parents and their parents for sure, they didn't have, because for sure you start learn over time, right?
Se desquitaban.
Pero ellos, güey, agarraban la pinche rienda de la vaca y chingas a tu, you know?
Yeah.
And that was the easy discipline. I'd be like, hey, you know, he behaved bad. Like, let's say our dad, when he was younger or a kid, he behaved bad. The dad would come in and whack the shit out of him.
Nomás con eso, with that
and he'd be like, I did my job. And it's like, but I don't know if we want to talk about this, because I just told Brian this shit the other day. I said, it's funny how we complain about this new generation and how soft they are, and how, like, you know, all these weird topics that they're coming up with the gender identities and that them, it's all that shit. I'm not trying to get into that conversation either, but like, for example, you know, we talk about how soft these kids are, and I'm sure our parents' generation said that about us, vice versa. But I think it's funny because we're the ones raising them.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it's like we're complaining about the new generation, but we're also the fucking parents of these kids.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's one of those. It's kind of like how I think we want to mention it on Broken Plates, how our grandparents were raised a certain way, and they raised our parents a certain way, and then our parents kind of raised us a little bit more like, oh,
based off of their traumas.
Pa que no sufras, pa que no batalles, you know, the least as possible. So they try to make it easy for us to a point where it's like they would tell us about, oh, this is how we grew up, and you would be like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you grow up like that? And it's like we wouldn't understand that, you know, it's like they were probably dirt poor in Mexico or wherever country they were coming from, you know, and they get here.
Yeah, nosotros alemanes.
And ándale, pues.
Viene Sichel. Volkswagen. Mercedes-Benz.
Hey, ándale, güey. So
Borussia Dortmund.
Tell me why I was going to say that one. I wanted to...
Marco Roy.
Goretzka.
Shut
up. Boy. But it's one of those...
99999.
Oh, no. My apologies for the earphone listeners.
Dude, it was the movie Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, yeah.
But see, wait, I'm just trying to say it's like they're trying to make things... They were trying to make things easier for us, pues, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, they did wait to a point where it's like we got away with a lot of shit that they wouldn't have been able to get away with, you know, growing up with our grandparents. But now, yeah, we're raising this newer generation. What are we doing?
I think we should start hitting them again.
What are we doing is now it's called gentle parenting for what they're doing now.
I mean,
I'm just kidding, by the way.
That's what it's called now.
The thing is that, look, the way I see it is like whatever, like however your parents were when you grew up, in a sense, this is the way I see it. That's a blueprint for you to kind of like raise your kids, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, because you're going to take, if you really like how you were raised, you're going to take that and apply it to your kids.
Yeah.
Now, if there are things that you don't like, you're going to probably do things your own way, put your own little spin to it, and be like, nope, I'm gonna do things a little differently.
But it's interesting that you can analyze that, food, because like I have a case close by that I have 2 family members that turned their kid into a fucking criminal.
That's fucking crazy.
Well, because they got raised a putazos or fucking getting hit.
Yeah.
And so these 2 fucking morons would show up to the house and fuck up the shit out of the kid, and they turned him into a fucking criminal. They raised them like an animal, like they were. So this guy comes in and out of jail every fucking 2 weeks and stuff. And so they created a fucking animal out of this guy, literally, right? You could do that with anything. Like, you could turn a dog into a human where he can't step outside and burn his fucking paws.
Hey.
Or you could leave a dog in the backyard and let him survive a whole fucking, like wolves.
Yeah.
And you just feed them and give them a walk once in a while. So it's like, right? It's very similar in a weird way. So what I'm trying to get at to is like, there's always mediums for everything, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool that I see, like, for example, you guys are able to analyze that even inside of the situation, adding all the variables that are next to you, you know?
So
and what's crazy is that we talked about it before too, where it's like, I think it's maybe a little harder raising kids in this time.
Yeah.
Now.
I think it's
with everything that's going on.
Yeah, and because you're constantly being judged, dude. Like every little thing, for example, that little spank that you give, you will be judged in the law, in the court, and you know
what's
for
funny?
The little spank that you gave, and it's
there's a video like a couple years ago, maybe from the show. I don't know if you guys ever watched it, Southland. It's a cop show from LA.
I've heard of it. No,
there's a scene where this kid's probably like, what, 8, 9, 10 years old maybe. Calls the cops. Cops show up to the house, right? And they're like, oh, we got to call, you know, domestic abuse or something like that. And the mom's like, no, like nothing's going on here. Next thing you know, a kid comes out. Yeah, I called the cops because she hit me with the belt. And then in the show, right, there's this white dude, older white officer. He was like, what the fuck? He literally had a face like, I'm fucking wasting my time. So he pretty much, in a sense, along these words, he's pretty much like, you're telling me you called the cops, you called us because your mother hit you with the belt. And I think, I don't know what the kid had done or whatever. He's like, he grabbed the belt and he went up to the kid and he's like, this is a form of discipline. Like, don't be calling us because your mom's disciplining you.
Yeah.
And he gave the belt back to the mom, pretty much. That is, in my opinion, it's like, however you want to discipline your kids, discipline your kids. Right now, sometimes, don't get me wrong, there's times where it's like, that might be a little too much.
Yeah, I think that's extreme. Yeah, I was gonna jump into that. Yeah,
but it's like,
wait, what part of it?
The part of it telling no. The part of telling your kid, the part of what was it? The officer that said that?
Yeah,
the officer saying, grabbing the belt and saying, "Hey, kid, this is a form of discipline." No, you can't. You can't say that to a kid, dude.
No, but he's trying to get him to understand that your mom's trying to discipline you because you did something wrong.
So say it without getting the fucking belt and putting it in the kid's fucking face.
And in my opinion, though, it's like it's one of those. Ándale, yeah, dude.
They'll smack the belt.
My dad used to do that shit.
No, pero dicen que no nos pegaban. No, y aquí yo estoy todo nada.
Este güey está traumado, güey.
My grandpa no nos aguantamos. Agarraba el cinto, le hacía así. Órale, todos parecíamos cucarachas, güey. Living everywhere.
Fucking running.
My thing is just, I believe there should be a form of physical discipline. And I don't think it's the first go-to. Yeah. But it's one of those where it's like, look, it comes to a point where your kid's probably not going to react to your form of discipline. And it's like, look, I'm trying to get you to understand. Obviously, you didn't understand with words. You know, you didn't understand with your timeout. Un pinche cintarazo bueno. Y quedas a gusto y te vas a dormir.
So what's your...
Did you not cry yourself to sleep?
Yeah.
And that's probably like the best sleep you had.
Yeah,
your little nap, huh?
It was. You'd wake up and you'd be like, I'm rejuvenated. I'm a brand new little boy. Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a little fucking... Tengo una marca en el pie, pero...
Salías mansito.
Hi, mom. Yo dije que el cinto,
¿Quieres comer?
I didn't say it was the belt buckle. I said the fucking leather part of the belt.
That shit that he just said, que si quieres comer, did you know that?
Después del putazo?
That was their way of apologizing to you?
Yeah, I didn't know that, though.
But our parents
I didn't think of that.
No, a parent shouldn't apologize for hitting or discipline. Like, hey, I'm sorry for putting you on timeout, but no.
Yeah. Oh, no. For discipline, no. Taking the action of the discipline, no.
No.
If you feel like you crossed the line, yeah, you could say, you know what,
you're trying to discipline your kid. It's like, I'm not going to be like, hey, dude, my bad. I shouldn't have put you on timeout.
Either Ricardo's disgusted by the comment or he's about to throw up that cold chicken he ate yesterday and he has got his food poisoning. Which one is it, Ricardo? Both? Oh, mándamela.
Traile el bote, güey. Traile un bote.
Man, we love our fans so much that I'm sitting here doing this. I should have not.
While he gathers his thoughts together, Renee, I have a question for you. What's your opinion on what it is now, the modern thing, right? It's called gentle parenting.
I mean,
gentle parenting. The definition for what it is when you get on the level of the kid and you speak to the kid where you have to completely get into the fact of what he did wrong or she did wrong. And then kind of accept it, or when he's throwing a tantrum, you have to kind of get involved and not grab him how your mom would probably grab you by the ear and take you out of the fucking Target store or Walmart
de la pinche patilla, güey. De la Mervyn's, no mames.
You can't do that.
De la patilla, güey. De la patillita right here.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
Hey, wait. That's why...
What the fuck was that about?
That's why
I taper the shit.
Hey, I was about to say. That's why we all get tapers and fades now, güey. Porque nos jalaban de la patilla, güey.
Dude, what was that about? Like, who the fuck thought about that bullshit?
In high school it became a thing, the taper.
¿Sabes por qué, güey? Porque te dolía, güey. Tampoco no te dolía que te jalaran de ahí, güey.
Nah, it was weird.
Se la está sobando.
Fuck, dude.
¿Qué se está sobando, güey?
La pastilla, güey. La pastilla.
Dude, I don't know what the fuck that was about, but yeah.
You get to record like, what the
pull you
fuck?
from there.
Why?
But like, for example, let's put you in that scenario, right? Because I want to stick to that gentle parenting part, right? What would you do in that case if you're at fucking Mervyn's, JC Penney or something, and your kid's on the floor crying, screaming because you didn't buy him a toy?
First of all,
what do you do there?
It wouldn't even get to that point.
No, let's hypothetically speak.
Hypothetically, no.
Because I want to jump into that gentle parenting part. What would you do?
Lo levanto. Vámonos.
¿Cómo lo levantas?
No, como muñeco tampoco, güey. Pick him up, carry him, take him out of the store, try to talk to them. I'm not going to do it outside of the store. I'm talking about outside the mall.
Right.
Hey, try it. Let's go for a little walk. Vámonos. A little walk of silence. Get to the outside. Try to talk to them. This and that. Still throwing a tantrum. Lo voy a subir al carro. Dos nalgadas. We're going to wait.
To calm down.
Yes.
Those pinches nalgaditas.
I like that though, because I never really.
We're gonna wait.
I've never really been a fan of seeing parents discipline their children in front of other people
in public.
Exactly. So it's like
I think it's not
in any public space. I would try to find the most isolated area if it's a very public space and do that.
So the scenario of gentle parenting wouldn't be that, correct? That would be. It would be.
I'm sorry, but I'm not about to sit there and be like, Kyle, can you get up? Stop squirming around. You're making a scene
and screaming
for fucking 30 minutes. I'm sorry, but I hear that in the store and I'm just like, lady, grab your kid. Or sir, grab your kid. Like, you're telling me you have no parental control over your kid? Yeah. You're letting your kid do what he's expressing himself? Oh, I'm sorry. We're in a public space. We came to shop. Nobody wants to listen to that.
So okay, so I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here, where I'm gonna combine both the gentle parenting and kind of the parenting that we grew up in, dude, with kids, is because my mom, you did a very good job about this, and Ricardo will not let me lie on that one. Before we would go to an aunt's house or before we would go to a store, whatever the case may be, my mom would have us sit down and talk. I think more with me, because el pinche desmadroso was me more than Ricardo. And so my mom would say, we are going to go A, B, and C. You are to shut your mouth up.
Yeah, because I would always tell him, Brian, she's getting mad. Fucking little fucking.
But see, wait, did you not see the bowl haircut he had in fucking
the blue squid?
So here I'll be like, dude, she's getting mad. She's getting mad now.
I believe it.
And he's like,
so my mom would do that, right? She'd sit us down. She'd say, we're gonna go here, here, and here. I need you to sit down, shut your mouth up, behave. You know, like the prep work, Renee, was at home.
Oh yeah, my mom would do the same thing.
So you wouldn't have to do it in
public. Or else you knew what was going to happen.
So this is where I'm saying that is kind of part of, I guess, what you call now gentle parenting, where they do that now. I mean, they do it, but they do it in public. But now you can't control the kid when he's off the fucking rails and at Mervin's throwing himself. No. Fucking screaming and all that. It's too late.
It's too late.
So in what I do, because I will say I do follow that dude all along through. Now the kids are gonna make mistakes at the store, right? They're gonna do it because they're children.
But you remind them.
My tough love there is, exactly. I start to shoot the reminders like, hey, remember what we talked inside. Yada yada yada. Now my kid's never thrown a tantrum like that, but if it would have gotten to that point, Renee, I will go exactly to what you would do. Mm-hmm. Grab the fucking kid.
Oh, like that?
Toss him out of the fucking store. Throw him in the fucking car and then slap him. Nah, not necessarily that aggressive, but yeah, I would follow along with something similar to what you do. Definitely. Yeah. I would talk more though. I would communicate more.
Some hot social service chick's gonna walk in here right now.
Hoy.
No, says.
Hey, my mom would do the same thing, and she would do what she calls it, te voy a leer la cartita. She would be like, so it was one of those where it's like, vamos a ir a la tienda, blah, 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 right? And if you behave good, maybe I'll buy you a toy. But if we're not going to a store that has toys, like, you're not going to get a toy. We're going.
So she was buying your behavior then?
No, because it was like, she would go shopping, but she was doing one of those, like, what are you doing in the store for 2 hours?
Okay.
She likes to browse and all that. And you're definitely not getting
McDonald's coming home because they're frijoles.
No, y sí, güey. Hay comida en la casa, so forget it.
Can I get some chicken nuggets?
So for me, no. It's like, the way I see it, it's like, I'll tell my son now, it's like, look, we're going to go to Target. Oh, he loves going to Target.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Target, but you're not going to get a toy.
Yeah.
You have a lot of toys at the house. You're not going to get a toy. And he'll be like, okay. And then we get there, and, halfway through, he wants to go to the toy section. All right, let's go look. But then when he starts, what did I tell you? You're not getting a toy.
Yeah.
Let's keep getting what we have to get. And sometimes he se pone like, and I'll tell you,
which
I
is
told
normal.
You already. Yeah, normal. And it's fine, but es que es costumbre. Se acostumbran los niños real fast.
So I'll put the fifth gear on the fucking shopping cart and I take off from the aisle of the toy section.
So, no, pero I don't avoid a section because it's one of those where it's like, look, you got to learn that I already told you you're not gonna get a toy.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna bring you here.
Yeah.
So you can see.
Yeah.
And
yeah, hasta ahí nomás.
I told you you're not getting a toy. That's it. You know, and it's like because he has a lot of toys, so it's like, come on.
Yeah,
like,
I ain't nobody to tell anybody how to be a parent, but
it's one of those
you gotta be tough, but you gotta also be lenient, but you also gotta know what boundaries that you have to
be flexible in so many ways. But the thing is, one thing I'm not gonna do is like let my kid throw a tantrum in public the way I've seen other kids, and their parents are just like, come on, get up, and I'm just like, dude,
grab that kid,
grab him,
yeah,
you know. And do what you have to do.
But I think there's that fear of social scrutiny, bro. Like, where people are watching you, and they're like, I feel like, because when I see a kid doing some shit like that, I just turn the other way and mind my business.
Well,
like, let that parent take care of it. But I think in today's society,
people want to see what you're gonna do next.
Reason, everybody feels entitled to judge and watch someone else's parenting. So it's like, let's say your kid throws a tantrum, they're like this.
Yeah.
No le vaya a pegar. No le vaya a pegar. I hope you don't hit him.
But before they say that,
and they're watching, it's like, bitch, mind your own business, fucking go.
But before they say that, what do they do?
Because us dudes, we ain't watching, you know.
They're just like,
we don't give a fuck.
They're just a bit like, oyen, I know, ese niño no se está portando bien. Before they say, no le vaya a pegar. They're complaining about the kid's behavior, and then they're like, the parent better not hit him.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
O
and
si le pegan, they go, oh, ya te pasaste.
Pero la cosa, güey, is like you said, it starts at home.
Yeah.
That should be handled at home. Yeah. And some people don't do that. Like,
so that's where I think the gentle parenting has to be handled at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's your controlled environment.
Exactly.
Yep.
100%.
And when you take them out to the street, it's the experiment of what?
Like you said, you're shooting reminders. Hey, remember what I told you. Keep your cool.
But
keep your cool and we'll be cool.
Not the problem. The issue is that when you do start hitting them, and I this is where I have to say that where there are parents that do hit the kid, and it's like, yeah, they do that thing you guys said at home, but the fear in the kid's head is, I'm gonna get fucking trashed when I get home. And that's not good either, you know, because instead of like, because he's like,
que lleguemos a la casa.
And then what happens, dude? You know, we get to an age where it doesn't really hurt that much, and you're just like, I don't give a fuck. We'll do whatever you want, even if you hit me. And like, you as a kid, like, you decide what way you want to go. You want to go to the cholo route, and then act like like you didn't have anybody, and then the streets your family anymore because your parents used to fucking hit you. Yeah. Or you shut the fuck up and do what your parents said. But I also think, dude, I think today they're taking so much authority off of parents that you guys are just caretakers now. Because everyone wants to fucking judge.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to punish you for being the way you are as a parent. And I've told him before, dude, you have to respect how people parent. Whether it's right or wrong, you never know. But you can't get involved because, like, for example, if I see someone hitting their fucking kid, that was my fault for fucking getting involved. But other people think about it like, I had to get involved. I was saving the kid. And it's like, well, Dick, it's really not my fucking business.
Captain Save a Kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, I would feel the same way. If I was to, I would just fucking turn the other way. I'm like, I gotta keep doing.
But then they're raising a bunch of school shooters. So then what the fuck's the deal?
So... when you're saying the whole about the discipline of when you discipline the kids physically too much, it's like then taking different routes, right? If you start making it like you start physically disciplining your kid often, that's when it starts becoming. They get to that age where it's like, well, I don't care, it doesn't hurt anymore, or whatever.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
Do what you got to do, right? And then I think that's different when you abuse the physical discipline. Yeah. When you not pick and choose, but like I said, when there's steps to what you got to do, and you use physical discipline when you feel like it's needed, and it's not often. I think the kid will be like, oh, you know what, I fucked up this time, or I did bad because
the ultimate punishment a parent can give is hit.
It changes.
This question is towards you, since you don't have children. You see,
he does have a dog.
You see Renee. Ask him how the veterinarian went, how the vet went. They call him Dad. They call Ricardo Dad for a dog.
I wanted to laugh so hard in the Red's fucking face. I'm like, who stopped calling me dad, bro?
He got upset because they called him dad at the vet.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? Anyways.
So, question to you, since you don't have children, because I could kind of figure out what you and I would do, but whatever. You see a parent out there, let's just say a mom, not a dad, because that does matter, the scenario.
What does she look like? No, go.
You see a mom there.
The one that you be throwing football to the kid for just because.
You see the mom out there, whatever, you're walking or whatever, and you see her hitting her kid, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But she's excessively hitting this child. Do you, as a person that does not have kids, do you get involved or not? And I mean excessive, Ricardo. Don't try to downplay it. Excessive hitting where you're like...
he's bleeding?
Well, no, you can't even tell if he's bleeding, but... I mean, think even...
If he's bleeding or not, it really matters.
I think even my dog would get involved at that point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I think he would fucking run at him.
I mean, excessive hitting is in the sense that the lady keeps hitting him and hitting him and hitting him because, I don't know, whatever the case may be, you don't even know the reason why, but she's, obsessively hitting the kid.
Yeah, no, I'd probably say something.
Yeah, right? Would you? You as a parent, Renee?
No, I wouldn't. Probably, okay. I would say something like, "Hey, is there an issue?" Because I think to your point, and I don't want to distract it before he answers.
Yeah,
it's clearly we're having an issue with child abduction and these child, fucking predators and stuff.
Okay,
it's a clear issue that has been going on for years, but it's right now it's highlighted. Bradley and Batali and all these guys.
Yeah.
They're doing and they're catching on TikTok. There's these Colorado pet control, and they're catching all these fucking weirdos. That's been going on forever. And then so that other movie too that I watched in Colombia, I think it is, with the how they abduct kids and then take them to sex rings and stuff and trade them all over the country.
Yeah.
So I think now I am more aware and I do kind of look out for that to see if any weird shit's going on. But obviously, if you see something like that, you're not human if you don't try to stop it. Yeah.
And you having a kid, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm asking you now in the sense of thinking that you're also a parent, so you all could also... I'm not saying you don't do that, dude. I mean, I'm not saying you do that, but if you put yourself in the scenario that you have gotten to the point where your kid has pissed you off so much, that maybe you're spanking him, but you get to that, you see that dude in the street, do you get involved?
Honestly, dude, probably not.
Wow, you're kidding. I was literally thinking I knew what you were gonna say. I didn't think you were gonna say that.
I mean, again, it to me, it's just one of those where it's like,
you stay out of it?
I wouldn't stare like too long to see like everything.
No, you're walking. No, listen to the scenario. You're walking and you're seeing it from a distance that this mom is just, excessively hitting this kid, and the kid's crying. Obviously, there's no blood, Ricardo.
Unless there's a look in the kid's eyes where it's like,
oh, so you're
desperation.
Okay,
I'm not focused on the person, on the adult. It'll be focused on the kid if there's a look of desperation, but then again, there can be a look of desperation for no.
If it's abusive,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I'm gonna say my experience.
It's one of those where I feel like it's the parent and it's.
Yeah, so at Food for Less, dude.
Señora, dele sus
at Food for Less, down this way.
Quiera, but
that scenario happened, dude. Not excessively, right? But it was to the point where, dude, I was by myself and I felt bad for the kid. And it was in the middle of an aisle, right? Don't ask me what specific aisle, because whatever.
Fruits and veggies.
And that's not an aisle, Dick.
It's an open space, but there's walkways.
So they were the mom was hitting the kid, right? And the kid would fall to the floor. The mom would pick him up, grab him by the shirt, picking him up, and then she kept hitting him. And this was all in public. Now, I'm going to tell you based on how I judged the mom by looking at her, just, she didn't seem fine, right? She didn't seem all there, right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
And so other parents started sticking around to watch to see what the fuck is going on. And I remember I walked by and I told the lady, I said, hey, what are you doing? Stop. What are you doing to the, stop.
She kept doing it?
Yes, dude. And so, as I got to a point where...
You're one of those. I'm joking.
You're the one dude that comes out in the video. Now remember, there's people that before they say anything,
I'm joking.
Rather take out their phone and record and you're the dude that walks in the middle of the video. And says
Stop
something.
right now! You've got to stop it! Stop this! Stop this maniac!
Captain Save a Kid.
Shit!
No, so
because she don't listen to Rick K rap.
I
didn't
had
want
to
say that. I'm sorry.
No, I had to
I'm sorry.
because I saw the kids, the little boys' I just saw his demeanor, dude, and he was like, I know the kid was being very rebellious, maybe, right? Because he was throwing himself and getting back up and throwing himself. But
what the fuck do you do there?
The way the mom was grabbing him by the shirt and picking him up, like if you grab a purebred dog to try to see if it's purebred.
Híjole.
No,
A ver, ¿es
'cause
hombre o mujer?
No, 'cause-
Yeah,
¿Así?
like
Okay,
dude,
good,
it wasn't
continue,
cool,
continue.
dude. That shit wasn't cool. So I did jump in and I did tell the mom, like, hey, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop!
So what do you guys? So what do you guys do when if your kid would throw a tantrum like that? Because I've seen.
No, yeah, he said what he would do. We had mentioned that scenario.
And then they start fucking kicking and shit.
No, yo pa' fuera me lo llevo.
Yeah,
Antes de todo
I think
eso.
you hold them and grab them
and
close to you.
kind of
Hey.
tighten up your
Hey.
fucking
Yeah,
fingers. Like,
but you don't do what
little
the lady.
bitch.
You don't do what that lady's
Come
doing
here.
is playing the game that he's playing of throwing yourself on the floor. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at the scenario. How it was, he was throwing himself on the floor, but she was also picking him up and fighting with this kid like she was also a kid, like almost about wrestling with the kid.
Oh, shit.
That's why I jumped in and I said, "Hey, I was like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop!" I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And she still literally wanted a dialogue with me about the conversation, what was going on.
Justify.
She was trying to justify about it. She was like, he doesn't listen. I'm like, yo, I don't care. That's why I don't care if he doesn't listen. Don't do that. I'm like, well, take it outside. Do something else. Like, don't do that in here. And then there was other
that's
parents
too
that
much.
obviously where they are Karens, where they will try to call the cops. I would not call the cops.
yeah.
I don't think I'd call the cops like that either, because again, I don't know the backstory and the scenario of it, but
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean,
Ese es otro pedo también, güey, que
Yeah.
you walk into a scenario like that down an aisle and
Yeah.
you start seeing that. You don't know what happened before that. You don't know exactly. You just walk into the middle of it, right?
Yeah, but I don't think a kid could do something that bad that you gotta fucking.
I agree also that it's
Abusive
like
as shit.
that is a little too much. Right? You don't do that. Like I said, I wouldn't do something like that in public. Unfortunately, though, there isn't many people that think that way. Where
Yeah.
it's like the way they see it's like I'm gonna discipline my kid however I want to discipline them, no matter where I'm at.
but you as
And
a
it's
parent,
like-
you gotta be embarrassed though, no? Do you have to feel some kind of
Well,
embarrassment
I'll
as a
tell
parent?
you my
no?
little experience.
Yeah,
like I took Benny, our dog, to the vet, and I'm not comparing it to kids, but I felt embarrassed, fool, because I was in there with them, and he was just trying to murder every fucking dog that was in there.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And it's
Yeah.
embarrassing, fool, because it's kind of like people are looking at you like,
You don't have control over
you
your
don't
dog.
socialize that dog, Dad.
Ándale. See.
And I'm just like, fuck you, I'm busy.
You're a dad
And then,
dog.
So in a way, that's what I'm trying to get at, where it's different, but it's similar scenarios where it's like, if I felt embarrassed about having a dog that's not that well socialized, because also some kids too, they're not socialized as well, bro. Like sometimes these kids are just locked up in a house. They don't go out. They don't take them out. And then you want them to go out to the street and behave accordingly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they don't know how, bro. You never
Exactly.
showed them or whatever it is.
That's something that's very true, and it has a lot to do, and it shows with their behavior also when they start going to school, going to the park. How well do they play with other kids? Do they share stuff? It's one of those where it's like, how is this person, how is this kid gonna react to being in an environment where there's other kids? So are they gonna feel safe? Are they gonna feel like, are they gonna get on a defensive, stand because, oh, I don't know, I don't want to get bullied or punked by these kids, so let me be the bully and the punk, stuff like that. Like, it all depends, fool. And
So I have this question, because it came up the other day on another podcast that I listened to. If your kid fucks up some kid at school, do you punish him when he comes home?
It depends on the scenario. I mean,
Like, let's say this kid was like punking your kid,
okay.
and then your kid like finally had the courage to fucking tear him up.
Nah, but-
And sometimes the kids tell you like, hey, dad, or like, hey, dad, there's this kid that keeps bugging me, and I don't know why, and like he keeps fucking with me. Do you tell him fuck him up, or do you tell him avoid that kid? What is it?
We've had this discussion before. We didn't come to an agreement
So
at all.
quick
on that.
answer, yes or no. What do you tell him? Avoid, or do you tell him to confront?
No, you tell them to avoid.
To avoid
so
you?
I'll tell them.
Chingatelo?
You
No,
said quick answer. Quick fire, fucker.
Wait, okay.
Because I couldn't explain. You
Okay,
shut the fuck up.
avoid.
Oh, you avoid?
I'll tell him to avoid because. Okay, avoid. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead with
So
the next.
you would tell.
Fucking shit.
So you would
This fucker didn't let us explain. You just said quick fire.
I know. My bad.
No, I know because you're gonna say fuck him up and then give me an explanation, or avoid and give him an explanation.
Yeah.
So you would tell him to avoid the kid, okay? And then if it doesn't stop and this kid keeps fucking your kid up, and then one day he shows up with a bruise that you're like, okay, I don't bruise my kid like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't, or he didn't leave the house like this. This kid is fucking with her or him. And then your kid one day says, he doesn't even come to you about, oh, dad, what do you think I should do? Or mom, what do you think I should do? And he just fucking tears this kid up. Do you punish him for getting in trouble, probably suspended for reacting?
No.
I don't think you do.
I wouldn't punish him. I would have a conversation with them, but I wouldn't punish him.
Shouldn't get to that point, though. If you're just hypothetically speaking, that if it does get to that point.
So it depends the age range, right? Because when you're talking about like a preteen already, like
I think 12, that's more like between what, the age of 8 to 12. That's more, or 7 to 11 type of thing.
But when they're 13 years old, dude, and shit like that's happening, I tell them to fuck them up.
That's different. I don't know. I would still tell them. I wouldn't tell them like, "Oh, dude."
It's because I think it's kind of like jail, right? Like I've never.
If you look at it in a sense, yeah. If you want to like
I've
put
seen,
your standard and show that you're the person in the yard or in a fucking playground or whatever.
Yeah, because I watched I watched the documentary on how King Von might be the first serial killer in rap or whatever. And so, like, there's a lot of videos of him in prison, and he's just, like, testing everyone. The moment he gets in there, he's, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to fuck you up. Don't fuck with me. Now, obviously, you're talking about a criminal here, right?
Yeah.
Or allegedly, because he beat all his cases. But then you transfer it to the kid situation where it's like, well, if your kid becomes available to keep getting punked, somebody else is going to see that and then punk him again. And another kid's going to see that. Because we don't know what's going on at their households. You can only control what's at yours. Yeah. But if you see your kid keeps getting punked, like at one point, I think in the first case, you tell him you fuck him up so bad that he forgets what his fucking name is.
So then you're endorsing violence to the kid.
Violence is part of human...
But I don't necessarily think...
Not in children.
I don't necessarily
have you
think...
seen Chimp Empire?
I don't know.
Dude,
I don't necessarily think that's... I don't necessarily...
A movie?
I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, though. I don't think it's a bad idea. No. What I'm saying is, I would tell him, you look, avoid it, right?
Right.
Don't pay attention to him.
Right.
Don't try to be around the same space, whatever.
What's the second step? Fuck him up?
But if it keeps happening...
What's the second step?
You have my permission.
To fuck him up?
Yeah.
So where are you as a parent to go and talk to the teacher and tell the teacher this and this is going on? I don't care if my kid looks like a snitch or not. It doesn't matter.
You know what I'm going to tell you?
This is where the age comes in. It depends on the age, right? Because, Renee, as a 15, 16-year-old, you can't go and tell your mom and be like, hey, mom, they're fucking me up. And then your mommy's going to go and fix that for you. And you need to fix it. Like you as a teenager, you got to fix it.
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is, dude, I've heard of stories, people, parents going to speak to the teachers, que este niño está molestando a mi niño, blah, 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 this and that.
Okay.
Pues yo no he mirado nada. Pero ha venido, ya tiene como un mes que viene y me está diciendo bla. The teachers don't see anything, güey.
So then you take it to the higher up. Then you go to the counselor. Then you go to the principal.
Wants to go through the chain of command.
Yeah, you gotta go down. No, you gotta go down to the chain because you can't.
Until it gets to the point where your kid has a teacher behind him at recess at all times.
Well, no, that doesn't happen.
The issue
that doesn't happen.
You know what's the issue? You know what's the issue? Why we can't really get through to what he's saying, güey? Because of the way in the groups that we were raised in middle school and then towards high school, he wasn't hanging out with those crowds like that. Where
I was wearing dinosaur shirts in 6th grade.
Yeah, you see, no, sense. Fuck no.
I know you were wearing pro clubs.
That makes sense now.
No, that's what I was trying to. I was looking at you. I'm looking at you talking. I'm like, fool. Well, we grew up around the same groups that like we would throw. Well, not me, but there was rumbles. There was rumbles, and getting down was fun, and swinging at a motherfucker was fun, and your
the
hand
simple
was.
Fact of body shots.
I can agree with what you're saying, but also has a lot to do with the way my mom brought me up. Fool.
No,
Because
but
my mom would always put that fear in me where she would say, if you hit first, you're gonna get in some shit when we get home. If you fight in general, you're gonna get shit at home. And so the way I look at it is, you as a parent, you kind of have to think, what has my kid done for it to get to that point? Where has my kid not respected herself or him or her enough to where this boy feels like he is entitled to hit my kid? Now, I understand that there's kids that are just off the rail and will do it, they're not giving a fuck who it is. They just scan the room and they say,
parents defend them.
I choose, and I choose this kid to pick on. I understand those are situations that do happen. Most of the time, the teachers do help. I don't know what school he's talking about.
No, it's because but that also depends a lot.
Right, but my point is, where you have to put the responsibility on yourself and on your own child first. Look at what the fuck is going on here, because it's happened. And I'll give you an example on my daughter.
It is true, though.
I'll try to talk as fast as I can for this example. I understand where you're coming from. No, I do understand where you're coming. Okay, fuck you then. So,
because you look like a bitch at school. Like, your parents came, because one time they fucked me up in the middle of Whittier Boulevard getting out of Emma, and I still told my mom when I went into the back, I still told her, it was nobody, and she's like, I know who the fuck that is, and she went to the school, and I was just like, I had to excuse myself with the kids that I was kicking it with. Like, Dick, my mom saw this who fucked me up. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Plus, we locked them in the fucking restroom. Yeah. And it's like, Dick, it's my mom. What am I supposed to do? She saw it.
Yeah.
She's like, how the fuck does she know? I'm like, fool, we went to elementary school with this fool, and his dad sold ice cream in the fucking city, bro. Like, fuck you want me to do?
Not Jerry's ice cream truck.
No.
It didn't exist back then.
No,
it did.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, so,
actually
1932.
So,
what am I talking about?
But that's the shit that like I grew up with, right? With like the people I was hanging out with. The people I was hanging out with, it was like, dude, that shit's a sign of weakness when your parents get involved. But he's right, which is what I'm trying to get at, because we can't think like that, because now you're the parent, and it's like, fuck these other kids that we don't even relate with now, or we don't kick it with now. But it may be that scenario, if my mom would have continued to get involved like that, maybe it would have pushed that crowd away from me. And then it stems into other shit that obviously I did afterwards throughout high school and shit like that. From kicking it with those people, and I could have been dueling Yu-Gi-Oh! And trading Pokemon cards instead.
That's for sure.
Instead of trying to be
in the cafeteria with those people.
Yeah.
But why do you gotta make fun of them, fool?
It's funny.
Why you gotta be such a fucking
He would have been one of the kids running
kids.
as soon as a fucking bell rang during lunch. He would have been running to the fucking cafeteria to be the first one in line.
That was before the Naruto run was fun. I mean, it was cool. Naruto, you know. Hey, bro, but you know what? Those kids, like, I'm pretty sure they're doing really good for themselves now.
I wouldn't doubt it. But it's just one of those things, you know. Like I said, it's again, like you said, like your mom said. My mom said the same thing. Yeah, you don't hit first. If they hit you, you have my permission. Oh, my mom said, if they hit you, you have my permission to hit back, because you gotta defend yourself no matter what. And it's like, don't be the aggressor, but fuck, si te vienen a buscar, pues que te encuentren. And I feel the same way. And I wouldn't tell my kid, hey, fight. Yeah. But I'm going to show him how to defend himself. When it comes down to the day of something like that happens,
that's good.
And that happens, I'm not going to punish him for, why'd you get in a fight? Why are you getting in fights at school? Right. Unless he starts it, different story.
But you know what else I also noticed? And I'm going to say it for myself. The kids that would start fights were the fools that knew how to fight less. And the fools that were like boxers and like trained in some type of martial arts, we knew who they were. They never started shit.
Because they were disciplined.
They were disciplined, and they also knew I can fuck your day up right now, brother. So I think it's interesting. It's an interesting topic to look at, but that was another episode, boys. A little, what is this episode? 12. Who knows what episode it is, man? I feel like
who's keeping count? I'm not,
brother. I just feel like shit. That part. We're gonna have shirts coming through soon. We're gonna have maybe some hats, and then we'll probably throw some of these stickers in there. We don't know if we're gonna sell them. Probably not. We'll probably just give them away, because we're really happy with the small but large group of people that are listening to our episodes. And if you guys are sharing it with your friends and stuff, continue doing it, because, you know, I think the topics that we touch are very important, But it's also cool to like sit there and self-analyze, like, oh yeah, well, I maybe never noticed this shit, and maybe, you know, I think we hit those kinds of topics.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, you know, another episode of Al Grano Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.